You know, my friends, I'm a realist. I keep telling you that, and that doesn't sound like a no blank obvious statement. It's a very critical statement. I know what's happening. I understand the way things work. I understand like if you're talking to a kid and you're explaining to a kid, now listen, you got to be careful because if you have sex and they're listening to you like, what are you talking about? And I understand this because I'm a realist. I understand what they think. I understand that sometimes when you tell people things, they're not paying attention. And especially after somebody's just been through something, you normally think they're very careful not to repeat it or replicate it, but sometimes that's not true. When it comes to biomedical, this weird world that we're living in, whatever you want to call this, I wonder if we learned any lessons. I really wonder if we learned any lessons. And the reason for that is very, very simple. And I'll tell you this right now. We were so knocked off our plank position during COVID, SARS-CoV-2, vaccines, closed everything. We were so freaked out, and for good reason, that we're so happy it's over. We didn't stop and say, now what have we learned from that? Instead, we're saying, oh, no, let's just move on. Let's just move on. You listen to me and listen good. I am telling you, I am promising you, I'm not warning you, I'm promising you, you are going to see a spate of biomedical horrors that are going to naturally occur on this planet. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not saying they're manufactured. I'm not saying they're it's going to be some, conspiracy to gain of function, pangolin, wet lab. I have no idea the source of this. I have no idea. Prolific. There was a time in our country when the notion of pediatric cancers and oncology was just unheard of, and now it's like it's nothing. So it's coming. And I want to discuss this with you. And I want to discuss this with you rationally. And I want you to listen to what I'm saying and don't read into it and don't go crazy, because a lot of people, whenever you mention this, whenever you mention vaccines or illness or anything, they go off the rails in all directions, not just necessarily in directions you think. So hold that thought for a moment. Let me remind you, please like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And first, our sponsor, Dear Heavenly God, do you know how critical it is right now for you to think about what you would do in the event you went, let's say, 1 week without food? What would you do? What would you do? What would happen? Seriously. I ask people, and they look at me like, what do you... I said, do you know what we've just been through? Do you know what we've all just been through? Yes. What if you had to go through this again? What if you had to go through this again? Think about this. So I want you to do what I'm doing. Type in prepare, with Lionel.com. And you go to My Patriot Supplies, and you can get $200 off of a 3-month emergency food supply kit. Prepare with Lionel.com. Use this link I'm putting. And when you ask somebody, what do you do for a week? They'll look at you and they'll say, a week? And by the way, we're not talking about a week. This is for 3 months. You can take care of this. You can be set for 3 months. It's good for 25 years. This doesn't go bad. 2,000 calories a day, 21 varieties of food, breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, you name it. Reusable, heavy-duty 4-layer pouches with oxygen absorbers, 120 pounds of food in beautifully rugged, water-resistant buckets that are modular and stackable and very nice and geometric, and you put them in your garage, and you are set. This is 3 months per person, minimal. And right now, if you go to preparewithlionel.com, knock $200 off that. Now, You don't need me to tell you this. But when something happens, who knows? A contagion, more fires, earthquake, alien invasion. Are you going to rule anything out today? We went crazy with toilet paper shortages during COVID, and I still don't know what the hell toilet paper had to do with COVID, but I digress. Preparewithlionel.com. Do it and do it now. If you don't believe me, just go to the site and look at what's there, and it will astound you. Preparewithlionel.com. Now listen to me. Do you know what the state of the law is regarding mandatory vaccinations? No. Not really. Because we have a case, Jacobson against Massachusetts from 1905, and it's really not up to today's legal standard in terms of individual rights that have been incorporated by reference. But in the event there is that, have we settled this? Mandatory vaccines, mandatory compliance, and other things too. Mandatory movement, placement. What happens if all of a sudden somebody says, this particular area is all going to be quarantined, or you're going to be moved elsewhere? Now, let me also tell you something that's coming up, and this is something that nobody is thinking about, but I'm telling you here now. The Third Amendment. The Third Amendment deals with you cannot quarter soldiers, or really anybody under the government control, in your home against your will. Now we're talking about a whole bunch of people from, outside, what am I trying to say, from illegal migrants, whatever, coming and moving in with us, with citizens, with Mayor Adams. He knows it's not going to happen because he can't do it. Don't be surprised if one day you have compelled, mandatory acceptance of immigrants. Do you think that's crazy? Tell me one thing I can say to you today where you say, no, that can't happen. Tell me. Go ahead. Take your time. Take your time. You're going to see stuff that's going to blow your mind. And you still haven't seen something, and thank God. Because when SARS-CoV-2 hit, I was expecting people to just drop dead in the street. Remember that? I'll never forget. I took particular note of this. I'm thinking to myself, we were wondering if we went to Jersey and here in New York, can we come back? Are they going to have curfews? We didn't even know what shelter in place meant. Contact tracing, nothing. Nobody knew anything. Well, now we're a little bit hipper. And now we understand. And also, a lot of people took very, very easily and acclimated most well to the most constrictive and constricted of situations. They love this. I mean, there are people, as you know, still driving around now in their car by themselves with a mask. What will happen later on? Question number one. Do we have the resources in the event something all of a sudden just takes off? And I'm not here to, because there are people, as you know, no matter what it is, it's a plot. I'm not ruling it out, but that's not my first go-to thing. You see, if my house is on fire, I first want to get out and save my family. I don't want to sit and debate whether it was arson or not. I'll talk about that later. Some people want to debate whether it's arson. You know who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. What are the limitations? What do we have available? What is the state? Where's Fauci now and Walensky now? What are they looking at now? What are the proposed and anticipated future iterations and versions of COVID-like, coronavirus-like variants, if you will? What's next? They throw things at you little by little, monkeypox here and this and that, and then we never hear about them again. And I am telling you, as with most cases, normally things don't get better. They get worse. What is the future going to hold? What have we learned? Do we have the facilities? Nobody ever really asked Governor Cuomo why he put COVID sufferers into old folks' home, into retirement facilities and geriatric centers that basically, it was alleged, killed them. Did we learn anything from that? Do we know how to organize and utilize military versus National Guard? I remember seeing, somebody sent me a video of tanks. You're welcome. No, tanks and military personnel on flatbed trucks. And they said, martial law is coming. I remember that. We didn't know what to think. I couldn't figure out any of this because it was complete and total insanity. And now, with our city of New York yesterday looking orange, naranja, with the clouds, the skies on fire, makes me wonder, what if we learn? What happens next time? And what happens in the event of biomedical weaponry? Let's say there's a foreign agent, biomedical tyranny, where somebody wants to utilize this perhaps as a pretext to limit civil rights and the like. How about biomedical martial law? How does the Third Amendment work into this? Think about this. Quartering people at your home. Think I'm kidding? Think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. My friends, I ask you to think. Use your head. Focus on the deliberate. Don't go nuts. Don't go looking for things to worry about, but be anticipatory. Anticipatory, learn, understand, predict, and learn from what we've learned in the past. That's all. Because you know and I know, whatever's coming in the future is going to make COVID look like nothing. And thank God we've got that behind us. And thank God we learned from that. Or did we? That's the issue. What do you think? Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. Don't forget, preparewithlionel.com. Do you have 30 days of emergency food per individual in your household? Did I say 30 days? No. How about 3 months? How about 90 days? Preparewithlionel.com. All right, dear friend, dear patriot. Now, you know what I want you to do right now, don't you? Oh, yes. Comment as you see fit.